Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 79 here on season 1. Today, we're talking about stash and paying taxes. So, for those of you guys who don't know, this might come as a shock to you, but if you're investing on stash, then you're probably going to have to pay taxes. So, what does that mean? What does that look like? What are you going to have to pay taxes on? All that kind of stuff. So this question originally comes from Mzox2101, and he asked, can you make a video about paying taxes when you sell at a loss? So first of all, I'll get into general tax stuff, and then I'll talk about taxes and selling at a loss. So when do you have to pay taxes? Taxes are paid when you sell a stock at a profit. So if you think about this from a business standpoint, if you're in retail, say you make a shoe and then you sell a shoe, if you make a profit off that shoe, so say it takes you $10 to make the shoe and you sell it for $20, you made $10 of profit, right? So then you would have to pay taxes on that $10, and the other $10 would be allocated because you had to pay money already. So that would be a loss, and then you would have $10 that you would actually make a profit on, which then you would pay taxes on that. So basically, yeah, you pay taxes on something when you sell it at a high rate. So say you were to buy a stock at $100, you sell it at $110, you pay taxes on that $10 because you bought it at $100. I hope that makes sense. It's really simple. Honestly, it's like simple business, simple accounting. So it's really not that difficult to understand when you make a profit or when you lose a profit when selling and buying stocks. You also pay taxes on dividends that you earn. Dividends, in essence, if you think about it in like standard, like normal world, it's basically like a paycheck for you. So it's like, oh, you own some shares, here's a paycheck. You own some shares, here's a paycheck. So you have to pay taxes on your paychecks that you're getting paid from your job. The only thing is dividends are going to be a paycheck that you're going to get paid just because you're an owner in the company. So it's like, hey, you know what? You're an owner in the company, here's a paycheck. Because you own 3% of our company, here's a paycheck or whatever. Probably not going to own that much, but anyways. So that's what dividends are, and that's why you have to pay taxes on those. What about taxes selling at a loss? So when you sell at a loss, so say you buy in at an ETF or a stock on stash at $100 and you sell it at $90, do you have to pay taxes on that? No, you do not have to pay taxes on that. That's actually negative gain, so you don't have to pay tax on that. However, if you were to make like dividends off that, so say you made $6 in dividends off that stock before you sold it at a loss, you wouldn't have to pay, I believe you wouldn't have to pay taxes on that either, because you would have had made $6 but lost 10, and so you would actually only have had, it's basically like you would have sold at $96, so you would have a $4 loss basically on that kind of sell. So I believe with like accounting and that kind of stuff, you would actually not have to pay taxes on that because you wouldn't have any capital gains. You would have a tax, you would have a dividend that you got paid, but then you would have a end of year loss, so it would balance out. So if you lose money on a sale, then it's not taxable. It actually goes, so say overall in your account, just to give you guys like brief numbers, say you bought a share at $10, you sold it at $50 because your account, like that was a 508% increase. Like you were, great investing that year. But however, you also in that same year you had a stock that was $100 and you lost and you sold. So it was a $100 stock. You sold it at $70. So what that would do is it would take that loss of $30 and put it against the gain of $40. And so it would say, you know what? I only made actually this year $10 off that share, or $10 off my account. So you only have to pay taxes on that $10, because that's the way it works. So it's like, oh, you know what? Same thing in business. If somebody goes out and invests a lot of money in 1 year and doesn't make a whole lot of money, they take a net loss, or they take and they don't have as much gain that year. So guess what? Then their taxes are not going to be as much. The next year, they bought everything that they needed, so they don't have any expenses the next year. So they're going to make a lot of money, but they're also going to be paying a huge high tax rate on that. So what are the percentage on taxes and that kind of thing? So for dividends, if you hold them long term, which I believe is 90 days to a year, you're going to be paying about 50%, or not 50, 15% tax on that. So I believe if you hold it, actually I think it's even a lower tax bracket if you hold it for 30 days. I was trying to do some research on the internet. I like just to brush up on dividends, but I believe that it's, even if you hold it past 30 days, it counts still as that. But I know it's definitely, I think it's definitely 90, and for a year, it's definitely over. If you hold it for a year, it's 15%. So that's based upon what you're like. So where you're at in the tax bracket. So the highest tax bracket that you can be in for paying dividends is like 20%, which if you think about it, on your real job, like you're paying probably 25 to 40%, depends where you fit into the tax bracket. So honestly, like getting paid dividends is not a bad idea, because you're paying a lower tax on money that you're just making by just letting it sit there. Like, you don't even have to put in any work, hardly, to make that money. And then you're getting taxed less at that. Also, you have to pay taxes on capital gains. That's going to be based upon where you're at in the same thing, where you're at in the tax bracket. If you're doing a lot of like day trading, swing trading, so not a whole lot of long-term investing, which would be buying and selling, and not holding a stock for a year. So that's gonna put you at a higher tax bracket on those stocks. It's actually gonna be as if you were making money and that was like your job. So you're gonna get taxed basically on that. However, if you hold them for an entire year and then sell them, you're gonna get taxed at about a 15% or 10% or somewhere in there, based upon where you're at in the tax bracket. But it really, like, that's the ideal, especially on stashes. You want to be in those ETFs for at least a year. So when you go to purchase an ETF, you want to make sure that you're buying an ETF that you feel is going to be pretty strong throughout at least the course of a year, unless you plan on taking a loss, which nobody really wants to take a loss on an ETF. But you want to invest into a share that you feel is going to be pretty strong going throughout the year, going throughout the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 40 years, etc. Alrighty, so I hope that kind of answers your question on taxes and relation to stash. You can also apply that to Acorns and Robinhood. Same principles. Taxes are taxes regardless of how you make money. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the question of the day. The question of the day is, why does a guy keep commenting on how nice my style is? There's 3 answers to the question. One is he likes you. So he comments because he likes you. He wants to, show that he appreciates you, that kind of stuff. So he kind of is trying to like flirt with you, just doesn't know how to flirt. And so he just walks up and is like, "Hey, you've got a great smile." And like he's a nerd, he doesn't understand. So just take it as like, "Hey, you know what? He likes me." Another one is that he's just a creep, and creeps just kind of walk up and say, "Yo, nice smile." Like, and you're like, "I don't know you," and that's kind of weird. Like, I think it all depends on how you're feeling and how you're reading the situation, but that would be like my second. If he just like some rando is walking up and like, "Nice smile," I'd be like, "Oh, okay, you need to get out of here." Or third of all, he's just trying to build you up because he's just trying to be a friend. And I don't think that that's at all possible, but I think he either really likes you and doesn't know how to express that, or he's a creep. But the third option could always be a possibility, but I would bank on one or two. Anyways, if you guys have any questions regarding Stash, Acorns, Robinhood, go ahead and post them down below. I also do cover general investing advice, business, Etsy, and coaching. Currently, right now, I'm working on becoming a financial advisor, financial planner. If you guys would like to set up a one-on-one conversation with me, that would be awesome. Go ahead and just shoot me an email down below, and I will get to you, and so we can get that set up. But I'm not certified currently, but I will be here in probably the next month or so. So anyways, until next time, don't forget to subscribe up here and check out my 1-year stash review. And then check out this other cool video right about here. And until next time, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.